Good morning, welcome. I think it's in the history of the mankind first time something has been experienced together by all the people around the globe. It was rather enforced upon them by the nature. They enjoyed or they got distressed. It's an individual matter. But they all experienced it together in every nook and cranny of the world. Did you get what I mean or what I'm talking about? If you're not yet got, let me tell you. I'm talking about curfew. The dictionary definition of curfew is when people are forced to stay indoors under law or a regulation. But do you know where this word come from? I'll take back to the medieval ages of 15th century before. In 15th century or before, in Europe, most of the houses were made of chaff or straw or mud. There were no pakka houses, people were living in kacha houses. There were thatched roofs and temporary walls. In those houses, in those days, there was no chimney. Fire was not made in the corner of the house like in the modern houses. There are chimneys and mantel places there where the fire is made. In those days, in the middle, there was a hearth made. Hearth means where the fire is made. And at the top, exactly above that hearth, there was a hole in the roof and the smoke would go out of it. But the most complicated thing about those times is this. It was very difficult to make fire. So fire was very, very precious. There were no matches. There was no invention of the matchboxes. So what did people do? They used to preserve the fire overnight. Once all the activity was done, so they used to keep the fire alive. And to keep the fire alive, it was a risky job. There was all the risk of getting the whole house or in the neighborhood getting into ashes if any accident could happen. So to avoid such an accident or such a casualty or to be housed in the fire, the governments in Europe, in most of the countries, they made a regulation. They made a law. And that law was called Curfew. C-O-V-R-E-F-E-U. Curfew. Curfew was a French word. It was rather came from couvrir. Couvrir means to cover. Few means fire. Means a cover for the fire. So fire is covered by any ceramic or a metallic cover with some holes in it so that the air would go and fire would remain alive. And there was a system. Right at 8 o'clock, most of the chalks and in most of the areas, a bell was rung. As the bell was rung, people were supposed to cover the fire. That bell was also called curfew. And in English from French, it came like curfew. C-U-R-F-U. Curfew. Later on, this word became curfew. Curfew means cover the fire. But now you think how this word has been used for the common meaning that we are using today. So it is quite late as in 1987 somewhere, somebody used it first time for the imposition of a law to keep the people in, especially to avoid the crime. To stop the crime, after 8 p.m., it was supposed that people would stay inside. Nobody was supposed to go for anything out or come in. Isn't it interesting? Thank you. Keep waiting for such more facts. I'll be back with more interesting things out of the box. Till then, goodbye.